Michael Huber, Michael Damiani, the Michael duo. We got to play Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age at the Square Enix offices. It was all three of us, one console, passed it off. It was like being in school again.
It was nice.
It was nice. Before we dig into what's different with this remaster, I want to know, how do you feel about Final Fantasy XII, a divisive Final Fantasy game?
Take us away, Damiani. Lead the charge.
Nice. I actually did play it when it came out.
Yeah.
And I actually liked it. Were
you hesitant about it at first?
Not really. I kind of liked the direction they were going, like the aesthetic, the look. I think back in the day, people kind of joked it had like this Star Wars prequel vibe. Some of the visuals like looked the same as it, and I was like, whatever. Like, who cares? Like, you can say that to anything. I just think I remember an EGM magazine saying that. I was just like, come on, guys, really? But I didn't like Vaughn and Pinello from the very get-go. All I kept seeing was like both of you. I was like, yo, is that the main character? Let's go. I was like so excited for that, and I play. I'm like, who's this little kid? Who are these kids that I'm playing as? That was my only kind of like that rubbed me the wrong way about that game, was just those two characters. But the rest of the game, I liked what they did with it. And in fact, it kind of shocked me, the system they had in 12 that felt like they were trying to go for more of the offline MMO experience almost, and the different combat system with the gambits and the license board progression, which was a little iffy at first. For some reason, it didn't frustrate me as much as other people seemed to have issues with it. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, man, I can't wait for where they go with the series next from this. And then we got 13. I was like, yo, what the heck happened? Like, we had these open environments and this exploration, and it was like, man, couldn't wait to see what you could do. And you go to 13, but I was surprised by 12. Mm-hmm. I was a little bit hyped by all the videos I saw about it before it came out. Played it, I was like, I had a good time with it.
Nice. Yeah, I had played many of the Final Fantasies growing up. So, and then 10 came out. 10 was really the first one though that I like saw through to completion. Mm-hmm. So I was naturally excited for 12. Growing up too, Brad played 11 a bunch, so that was really cool. But I never really like dug deep into 11. But then 12, the demo was on Dragon Quest VIII, and that was like my entry into that. And I just loved how different both of those games were. Which made me even more excited, because I love Dragon Quest VIII and that art style and the turn-based combat. But then playing the demo of 12, I was like, wow, this is so much different. It's like the art style, it's super open. It's like an offline MMO. I just thought it was a good balance, and I'm glad that they put the demo on.
It's funny that you mentioned it being the demo for Dragon Quest, included in Dragon Quest VIII, because that's originally why I bought Dragon Quest VIII, was for Final Fantasy XII. At that point, I wasn't a Dragon Quest fan, and then that turned me into a Dragon Quest
Nice.
fan, because Dragon Quest VIII was so good. But Damiani, you talk a lot about one of the things you love about Final Fantasy X is it being a journey, and I really got that with Final Fantasy XII. It was nice. Like, at the time especially, the zones felt huge, and going from one to the other and going out on these hunts, like seeking out these monsters, it was a really cool feeling. It sort of, it felt like it had this persistence, I think, that other Final Fantasy games lacked. But the thing that always, I played it when it came out like you did, Damiani, but the thing that always kept me from coming back was the fact that, you know, a year later, I knew that Japan got this International Job System Edition.
Yeah, seems to always happen.
Right. And they changed so much. They had a job system, basically 12 different jobs that you could pick. They were all different license boards, a turbo mode for making getting around easier. And now, finally, in North America, we're getting that. And so I feel like I can properly return to Final Fantasy XII and reevaluate it.
Hey, better late than never.
Yeah, better late than never.
They did this with the past few games they've released like this, both like the Kingdom Hearts stuff. Like, Final Mix International versions, didn't get those. Final Fantasy X-2, like, the extra stuff for that, didn't get that before. It's, like, Japanese only. I like this. Because back then, like, in the 2000s, it was like, man, Japan are the only ones who get these definitive, awesome versions. Also have these, like, cool, sneaky, special cutscene moves, CG videos that we never... Like, you'd find them on, like, a shady back sites, like...
Yeah.
Like the Handycam movie... leaks of the day, and now they're like commonplace. Like, I like this. I was like, and it's good for people who haven't experienced them. They don't have to deal with that nonsense of, man, I'm never gonna get to play this definitive version. Japan got all the cool stuff. Nah, welcome to today. You get to play.
It's so cool because like Final Fantasy X HD came out, and I didn't get through it all, but it was cool to just go back in and play it with a fresh coat of paint. And it was mostly the same game except for the whole like different soundtrack or whatever. But you could like
they patched it in later that you could pick the original. Yeah.
But like a remaster is always so nice because it's accessible to modern consoles and because it just smoothes out a couple rough edges, like visually as well.
Yeah.
But this is such a cool new thing with this new job system. It's like we get the benefits of a remaster, but also if you've played Final Fantasy XII a bunch and never played this version, it's like a brand new type of way to play, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's the thing for me is it's not just, hey, we put this out on modern consoles and here are achievements / trophies. It's you get like you can multi-job now. You can take on multiple license boards at once. You get the turbo mode. You can control guests. You like all of this stuff. You get trial mode where it's 100 fights in a row. You get a ton of things, and so it feels substantial. But I want to know, when you guys were playing it, we just jumped into this save file that they had nicely prepared for us. Did you feel that difference? Did you get the sense that this was a significant step up?
I mean, it's super hard to get in the zone of a 50-hour JRPG, like when you get thrown into the middle in that kind of a setting, but it did feel like I was impressed with the visuals. I mean, it still looks like a PS2 / PS3 game, but I was pretty taken aback by how good it looked and how smooth it was, and the turbo button was really like that.
Turbo button
Damiani turboing through.
That was pretty good. I think it's also interesting to see, talking about like how well it's aged or not and how well it looks visually. When we were playing through it, like I recognized like a lot of the models they used in 12, even the OG ones, are still being reused in the newer games today. Like it's a testament to like those models like looking pretty decent back then.
Yeah.
Just throw a little bit more on them and they pass, for like a new modern like Final Fantasy game today. So, was it Tiamat that we fought, the boss or whatever? I've seen that monster so many times, but I was like, this actually looks good. And the environment. So, you talked about 10, and yes, 10 did have 3D environments, but they had a lot of pre-rendered backgrounds still in a lot of areas. 12 is just like persistently 3D everywhere.
Yep.
Like the towns, the environments, the landscape matters, I think, a lot more in this game for them to up it up and keep it, or bring it into HD, because I have a feeling the more time that goes on, the original versions go like look worse and just worse and worse for that.
You talked about how well it was holding up, or that original style, and I think a large part of that is sort of that Evil style that still looks so good and so iconic. You see that art and you immediately go, oh yeah, that's Evil East. Like just the ornate fantasy. Like we encountered a bomb during the demo, and how like this very common, very typical Final Fantasy enemy in this art style looks even more accentuated and menacing, and how cool that is. And it made me think to myself, like, I want more Evil East games.
Totally.
Yeah, the summon animations.
Yeah.
Like, they've always been so good. And, like, I love them in 10, but, like, seeing them again in this one...
Belias.
It's Belias. No, it's hilarious, because every time we're, like, level 10 people fighting little plant monsters, and every time a summon would happen, I was like, yo, is this the end of the game? Is this the end of, like, is the Earth about to explode, or the world about to explode? Because they're so dramatic and over the top.
It's interesting evaluating Final Fantasy XII 10 years later, because I keep making Wind Waker comparisons, Damiani, because I remember, much like Wind Waker, there was an initial backlash for how different it was. I remember a common criticism being like the Gambit system, the game just plays itself. And now, kind of with the benefit of hindsight, and you're seeing more people come forward and be like, no, I really liked Final Fantasy XII. I feel like I've played a lot of JRPGs, and I don't know if you agree with this, where I wish I had something where I had as much finesse over my AI companions as the Gambit system provides.
Yeah, I think that's not people who said that it just plays itself aren't acknowledging the thought and effort that has to go into planning out the rules for your characters with those gambits, and the fact that you have to unlock a lot of them, they're not all available at once, so you can probably get away with it with remedial stuff, but like, yeah, good luck in most boss battles or even harder encounters when you're under leveled in new zones. Like, it's not going to work out that way.
That's such a good point of leveling up the gambits. It's like this whole other thing you need to pay attention to on the license board. And like, we barely played, but I feel like the boss that did the status ailments, like, we needed to adjust our gambits to counter what the boss was doing, and like having to kind of figure that out from boss to boss or tough enemy to tough enemy.
Yeah, that was my favorite point in the demo, because we were just kind of rolling through everything else, then we get to this boss and it really caused us to pause and poke around more and be like, wait, how do we deal with all of these status effects? Yeah, it was good.
It actually had like how it had mechanics, like a big so obviously every fight has mechanics, but like in 10, because it's turn-based, your relative position or your absolute positions don't matter whatsoever. We were doing all this to deal with the boss's actual mechanics relative to where we were in the arena, and even after we figured out like a good set of gambits to apply, at least I missed the obvious thing of like, oh, his attack is a conal attack, like, you know, you need to move out of the way. Like, going back to why 12 was so good back then is it started to make you think about that stuff, and that's like a common thing. And like, oh, think about your position around an enemy, like, what year is this? Like, well, yeah, back in 2005 in Final Fantasy, that you didn't think about where you were standing next to a boss. It's like turn-based. Everyone's just like on one side, good guys here, bad guys here. Now it's like, no, circle around. You have manual control of your characters. You got to move them out of the way and stuff, get them out of that AoE and stuff. So that was an eye-opening thing for me back then, because I really hadn't seen that back like in 2005 or 6 whenever it came out.
How did you feel when you played through it about Final Fantasy XII's story? Because it's structured differently than the average modern Final Fantasy story, I would say.
So I only played through 12 once when it came out, and then I only played bits and pieces again for whatever needs I needed usually for like game trailers. The things I can remember about it, I do remember it being drastically different, and this might also be everyone who else has ever talked about, like, it's like more political, it's more cerebral than, you know, the typical save the world, like shonen style. Like, it's not like that at all. So some people came off as boring to them or something, or too slow paced. I remember a lot of really like good parts with the character development in that game. I'm gonna get some, hopefully I don't get some names wrong, correct me, but like Bosch and his brother, like the story about like what was really going on there. And then the story with like Ash, like what really like happened there. Seeing Fran and Balthier's like relationship and like learning about them. Everyone had a story, and then who was Sid's father? Sid was a father of some character, the like last boss or whatever. He's like near the end of the game. I'm forgetting now. But there seemed to be every character had their own arc that was developed and resolved in the game. And it was done, in my opinion, it was done particularly well. I felt like each of the characters I came across changed by even Vaughn and Pinello. I was like, okay, Vaughn's a little bit cooler at the end. Like he's matured, he's grown up a little bit, but everyone else was pretty cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, I never finished the game, but I loved the group dynamic. I love that it was a group. Vaughn didn't feel like a main character to me.
Right.
It was like like you're saying, everyone had their own individual stories. I much prefer that over a one savior character, like all powerful.
We've accepted you as the hero, now we're just waiting for that to come.
And following you, yeah. I like that it's everyone like rising up in this again political climate, and the judges just look menacing and badass.
Oh, those voices are so good too. Yeah,
imagery's been it's just long lasting. Like they go back to that image, like the judge, like so much, but it's so cool. Love that. Love that helmet.
Another thing that I noticed when we were playing the demo is I know 12 doesn't get a lot of love for its soundtrack the way that other Final Fantasy games do, and I was struggling to like recall Final Fantasy 12 tracks as I was thinking about it, but I remember playing the demo and really enjoying the music. And so I'm thinking, and kind of the sentiment that I'm getting from you guys and why I'm so excited about this remaster is it's been so long since I've played Final Fantasy XII. Like, my idea of it is fuzzy. I wanna nail it down. I wanna know for sure how I feel about it relative to all of the other games.
Yeah, it's between 12 and 6. They've been two of the biggest thorns in my side for backlog and finishing video games. I've had the Final Fantasy XII PS2 copy in my queue currently. It's just there. The box has been sitting there, but they announced this remaster so long ago.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll just wait. Like, even when they announced 10, I was like, oh, maybe they'll announce 12. So I've been putting it off. I'm really excited to go back and again just look at it with a fresh pair of eyes and hopefully get through the whole thing this time.
Coming out in the summer, July. Looking forward to just sitting down and playing Final Fantasy XII with a glass of lemonade. It's gonna be good.
Lemonade.
All
right, I'm doing that.
Okay.
It's done.
All right.
Tweet you a picture.
I can't think of a better way to end
The
this.
day it happens.
We'll tweet each other.
Perfect.
No words, just
Perfect.
at Michael Hubert. Big tall glass of lemonade. No context.
Yes.
All right. Look forward to that. Bye, everybody.
No holding back!